Welcome to Mr. Morris's virtual classroom. Today we're going to be doing algebraic expressions. We're going to be combining like terms, working on the distribution property, and also writing expressions. The learning objectives for today is to simply write algebraic expressions and to simplify them as well. So there's the standard. Okay, there's something you need to know before we get there. We're going to be working with both the expressions and equations this year. Today we're going to be focused on this section here, which means there's no equal sign. Okay, if there's a bunch of combinations of numbers and variables but no equal sign, you're going to be simplifying an expression, and where an equation has an actual equal sign, which we will not be doing two-step equations or one-step equations today, but will be saved for later on this unit. Okay, so here's kind of a warm-up into what we're doing. I have 5 hamburgers, so 5H, plus 3 fries, and then plus 3 sodas. Okay, we're going to go to number 3. Okay, so for number 3, I want to combine like terms. Okay, what that means is if I have an x with 3x, I can only combine it with only x's by themselves. So if I do 3x and 5x, I subtract the 2 and I get negative 2x. Alright, we have positive 8 and positive 6. I can combine those two together to be positive 14. I cannot go any further than this. Since negative 2 has an x and 14 does not, this would be my answer, and I would stop. Alright, let's go ahead and combine our largest exponents together. What that means is I'm going to start with x to whatever power, and that power that's the biggest. And in this case, it's 2. So I'm going to combine x squareds with x squareds. I'm going to do 16 minus 1 to give me 15x to the second. I've got positive 8x. I need to see if I can combine it with anything, which it can with the negative 4x. 8x minus 4x would give me 4x. And then lastly, 7 plus 2 would give me 9. And at this point, I can't combine any of those together. I circle my answer. The distributive property. The distributive property basically is multiplication, but you're going to be multiplying it to everything that is inside the parentheses. So as you can see, they multiplied 2 and x. 2 and 5 become 2x plus 10. So if I go to number 5 in your notes, I'm going to go ahead and distribute by drawing in these arrows. Okay, these arrows indicate that I need to multiply those two things together. So I'm going to do 5 times x plus 5 times 7, and I'm going to get 5x plus 35 as my expression solution. Alright, so these numbers are going to start to get a little bit bigger. And problems are going to get a little bit bigger as well. I'm going to take this negative 3. It is important to know that you need to multiply times everything. So negative 3 times 2x squared plus negative 3 times 5x, and then minus negative 3 times 7. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and multiply those together. Negative 6x squared. Negative 3 times the 5 would give me negative 15x. And then we have a negative times a negative, so this is going to turn into a positive, and then 3 times 7 will give me positive 21. Okay, so my answer is going to be, go ahead and fix that x. Negative 6x squared minus 15x plus 21. Alright, so sometimes they're going to be trying to trick you by putting the number at the end. Principle still applies where if I have a monomial or a term by itself, I can distribute it into the inside no matter what side I place my monomial on. So if I multiply those two together, I'm going to get negative 6b, right? Negative 2 times 3 would be negative 6. And then negative 7 times negative 2 would be positive, and then 14. The number one mistake I see on these problems is I'll have students write negative 4y and then they'll write minus 5. Remember that this is a negative 1 out front, so I'm multiplying times negative 1 and also multiplying this times negative 1. Since it's a negative times a negative, it will flip. So it'd be positive 5, not negative 5. And that would be my answer. Alright, simplify, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. So same thing is required here for PEMDAS rules, even in expressions. Okay, we want to try and multiply, and we'll do the parentheses first. We don't have anything that can combine the parentheses, right? X and 8 can't combine together. So next I'm going to go to multiplication and division. I do have a multiplication part. I can multiply 4 and x and 4 negative 8 by the distribution property. So I'm going to get 4x minus 4 times 8 would be 32, and then plus my 9x plus my 5. I'm going to go ahead and combine my x's together to be 13x, and now I'm going to combine my numbers or constants together to become negative 27. Alright, number 10, I'm going to focus on the parentheses first. I can't combine these two together because one has an x and one doesn't. So now I'm going to go to multiplication and division, and I do have a multiplication problem. Okay, I have a negative 1 here, meaning I need to distribute my negative into the parentheses so that I can get rid of that parentheses to be negative 2x and minus 5. And then there's my plus 3x at the end. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and combine my numbers together. 5 minus 5 is 0. Probably shouldn't have done that first, actually. You always want to focus on the largest variable and its exponents. So let's do negative 2x plus 3x. That would be positive x, or positive 1x. And then 5 minus 5 would actually end up being 0. But we will not write it as x plus 0. Our solution is just going to be x. Okay, make sure that you actually simplify. You do not need to write the 0. Okay, number 11. I'm going to go ahead and distribute in my 6. Why? Because I can't combine x and 4 together in the parentheses. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute to get 6x plus 24 minus 2x plus 8. I can combine the 6x and the 2x to get 4x. And 24 plus 8 will give me 32. And that's it. Alright, here's a challenger problem. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of any parentheses that I have. So I'm going to distribute in my negative for this one, and I'm going to distribute in my 2 for this one. So I got x minus 3x minus 4, right? Negative 1 times 3x would be negative 3x. Negative 1 times 4 would be negative 4. Now let's go to the next one. 2 times x would be positive 2x. 2 times negative 5 would be negative 10. And then plus 2. We're going to combine all of our x's together first. Okay, so 1x minus 3 would be negative 2x. Negative 2x plus 2x would be 0x, or 0. So I'm going to go ahead and write 0x just because I don't want you guys to get confused with where the x goes just yet. Right? 1 minus 3, negative 2. Negative 2 plus 2 would be 0x. Okay, let's go to negative 4 minus 10 plus 2. Negative 4 minus 10 would be negative 14. Negative 14 plus 2 would be negative 12. Now my final answer is not 0x minus 12. My final answer is just going to be negative 12. You do not write 0x. Alright, we're going to go ahead and skip to the words into math. You can pause the video and write all these. The ones that are probably the most important and the hardest to learn are the parenthesis words and the turnaround words. So less than, from, quantity of, times the difference of, that kind of stuff is going to throw some students off. So let's start easy with 4 plus a number x. All right, we can go ahead and decipher this as my 4 plus means addition, and my number x just indicates that I need to use the variable x. So my expression is just going to be 4 plus x. Okay, I've got 6, and it looks like multiplication, a number minus 3. So we got minus, we got a 3, and we've got a y. Okay, so this is where we're going to have to do some critical thinking. So it's the 6 times a number, which indicates that this is a parentheses problem, as you can see with our rules. So 6, and I'm going to put a parentheses, and then it says a number y minus 3. So I'm going to go ahead and do y minus 3 in the parentheses, and then this would be my expression that would write. Okay, so this is another indicator of you're going to have a parentheses because it says 3 more than the quantity. Okay, the quantity is going to indicate parentheses here. So 3 addition parentheses and then 5 times a number. So 5 multiplication in. Alright, and then it probably would end with the parentheses if I have a starting parentheses. So my expression would be 3 more than the quantity 5 times a number, so 5 in. Now I could put 5 and in parentheses, but since it is not like a sum or a difference, I really don't need to, but I'm going to leave it as 3 plus 5 in. Alright, 16. This one's tough because it says 2 less than. Okay, if you saw in the switching format, less than means it's going to be flipped, meaning it's going to go from the start of the sentence to the end of the sentence. So I know at the end that whatever I get, I'm going to subtract 2 to it. Okay, 2 less than. So 2 less than would be minus 2 at the end. The sum of 6 and a number b. Okay, 6 and b, and we know sum is addition. So I'm going to go ahead and put those into a parentheses and do 6 plus b. Now we really don't need the parentheses here either. We can make this 6 plus b minus 2 because we're not multiplying or distributing. So this would be my answer, 6 plus b minus 2. Alright, the product of 5 and a number divided by 10. Okay, the product meaning multiplication. And we know 5 and then a number divided by, so let's use a number n, divided by 10. So we know that it's going to be 5, and then we're going to multiply times a number n that's divided by 10. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead. That's our answer. Alright, 5 times the quantity of the difference of a number and 5. This one's tough because obviously there's a lot going on. The quantity, okay, remember when we said quantity that there's going to be a parentheses here? That's true in this instance. Okay, so it says 5 times the quantity of the difference. Difference means subtraction. Of a number, we'll use n and 5. Now here's the tough part right here. First of all, I'm going to end this with a parentheses. But I'm going to write my 5 parentheses because it's times the quantity of the difference. The subtraction symbol is on the outside, but really what it's asking is n minus 5. Okay, so the difference between the number n and the subtraction of 5. So this would be my expression. Okay. So the directions here indicate that you need to write the verbal phrase for each mathematical expression. So we're going to translate this from math to English. So I'm going to break this apart as in I'm going to look at each term and each sign or symbol, mathematic principle that we're going to be using, and try and come up with a way to write it in the correct order. So I'm going to start with this one being easy. I have twice the number x, and then I have also minus 5. So I'm going to go ahead and do twice the number x minus 5 as my algebraic expression. Now, there's actually multiple ways you could have written this out. You could have said the 5 less than twice the number x. You could have said 2 times the number x minus 5. It's kind of up to you on how you want to verify, you want to strategize and verify your own algebraic sentence, but you can do these in multiple ways to spell it out. All right, let's go ahead and do number 20, 3x squared plus 10. So this one I'm going to write 3 times the number x squared plus 10. So that's probably the easiest way to write it. There's also another options to write it. You could write the sum of 3 times the number x squared, or you could have written the product of 3 and a number x squared plus 10. There's so many different variations you can write. It's just kind of up to you as long as you're spelling it out correctly. Alright, so for 21 I'm going to actually write it like with parentheses. So I'm going to use like the quantity of and any way that I can write parentheses. So 3, so let's do the product of 3 and the sum of a number x and 2. So the product of 3 and the sum of a number x and 2. That would indicate that we have the sum of x and 2, and we multiply it times 3. You could have also written this 3 times the quantity of x number x plus 2. You could have done another variation of the sum. There's different ways you could have written it, but this is the one that I came up with. Okay, some vocab. These vocab are going to become important on your test. You are going to have part of your test focus on vocab. Simply, usually a letter used to stand for a quantity that changes in value. 5x plus 5, so variable would be x in this instance. Algebraic expression is any mathematical phrase that includes one or more variables but no equal sign. A term is each one of the numbers and x's together between the addition and subtraction symbols. Constant, number by itself, term that has no variable. And then coefficients, number factor of a term, the number in front of a variable. So 5 would be the coefficient for x squared, -1 would be the coefficient for x. There is no coefficient in 3. 3 is a constant. Distributive property, we got a times b plus c equals ab plus ac, or a times b minus c equals ab minus ac, and there's an example below. Okay, we are done. Go ahead and get to the in-class assignment, which you will be going straight to your homework if you're at home.